Hello, namaskar to all. It's really a great pleasure to see you all again. And as you all of know that we have started this e-session for our institutes to take part and also do and students and faculties and institute staffs, they can attend, they can watch, also they will get benefit out of these e-sessions. And also by submitting the e-assessment forms, participants will eligible to get certificate, e-certificate, and we will issue letter once this session will over, especially by the end of June. And today's session on marketing research. Marketing research is a very, very important tool, also topic of requirement to know for all potential innovators, entrepreneurs, also the mentors. Because without marketing and marketing research tool, it is very difficult to validate your idea also at the innovation or also startup. So how to use this marketing tool at different stages, starting from the problem identification to the idea development, prototype and innovation development, and startup stage. Today, we have one very good expert from Invest India. He is Dr. Preet Singh. He is working as a AVP at Invest India, and he's looking after the responsibility of business reconstruction, and especially during the post-COVID period. And from education side, he's a graduate from IIM Ahmedabad. He did his PhD from IIM Ahmedabad. Also, he has established a couple of startups, and he's a good expert in marketing and marketing research tools. So I will request Dr. Preet Singh to focus on marketing research, and also I will request, because marketing research is so vast subject, so he is going to deliver this session in two sessions. So in the first session, in today's session, he will cover the foundation level, and after 1 week gap, he will again come with the advanced level session on marketing research, and he will try to make familiar with different tools and how to use that marketing research tools for your idea, innovation, and startup. So with this, I will request Dr. Preet Singh to take the session, and now floor is yours.
Thank you, Deepan. Hello, everyone. As Deepan mentioned, I've been doing this for a while now. So while my area of expertise during my PhD was not marketing, I realized that if anybody would ever want to do something with a startup, you need to know your market study, you need to know your market size, you need to know a lot of things related to the opportunity size. How it becomes important is I of course started up and failed many times. In fact, usually in my introduction, I start by saying that I have failed so many times that I am a mistake holder in the ecosystem. So one of the things that we realize that is important for every startup is that each team member has to be acutely aware of the entire market value, of who is the customer, who is the consumer, what is the price point, what is competition, what is it that you are trying to solve, how are things going. And it's nice that we've decided to keep this into two different sessions. The second session will focus more on maybe one advanced case study. I would after the end of the session, I would request you to of course do some exercises at your end. I'm not sure if you would want to share those, but you should do it for your understanding, to know if you have understood those well. How the session progresses is I'll just take you through some basics of what all a market research study or a market study or marketing study, what all these things entail. It will be a more broader overview, and if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out, right? So I'll just share my screen with the presentation. Just let me know in case the screen is visible. The screen is visible, right? Great. So yeah. So in terms of an overview, I think one of the more important things in any startup's journey is market size. there's this really nice infographic that you see a lot of times that says why startups fail. And you will see that 60% of them fail because they make something that is not required, right? That nobody needs. If nobody needs your product will definitely be failing. There is no two ways about it, right? If I set up an online e-commerce platform that is charging people more money to buy goods from there, then nobody needs that, right? And then it will fail, which is why Amazon, Flipkart, all of these have to indulge in discounts. On the other hand, last mile delivery is something everybody needs. So Amazon will give you a 50% off on a big air conditioner that you buy. It's a 40,000 air conditioner, you get it for 15, 20, 25,000, but they will still charge the 200 rupee delivery fee, right? So because you can only charge for what people want. So it is important for you to understand what people want, because that is what your startup should be doing. If you create something that you think everybody should have, then you are in the role of government. You are not in the role of a startup. A startup makes what people want. That is where your market size comes through. Another important aspect here is market penetration. We'll see how this is different from market size, and how this can actually change the entire game in a major way. And finally, segmenting, targeting, positioning, STP. Any management student will tell you what STP is and how STP goes about. So we'll take care of these three things. In case there are other topics you want me to cover, just drop a message, drop me a line, and we'll take those over. So what is market size? So the market size is the total number of people who could buy the product, right? So when I say who could buy the product, what I mean is people who have the capability and interest, right? There's also an interesting footnote there, and that is, in some cases, the customer and consumer are different, right? Now you might be thinking, what is the difference between this? Customer is the person who purchases your product. A customer is the person who purchases your product. The consumer is the person who consumes your product. Getting it? Now, it's not very easy, this difference. But think about this. Cement, right? If any one of us have ever gotten a house constructed, we get cement, right? Who pays for this cement? Of course you pay, right? Because you're getting the house made. So you decide that, do you want Gangur cement? Do you want Ambuja cement? Do you want Birla cement? Whichever cement you want, right? But who consumes it? Who buys it? Who decides to buy it? I'll take a simpler example. Cerelac? Who consumes Cerelac? Babies consume Cerelac, right? But who buys Cerelac? Right? Their parents, of course, because babies are too young to have a credit card, right? When the baby's mother or father, when this person goes to the store, they are your customer. You need to be attracting them, right? So there is a difference in customer and consumer. So if we are ever looking at the market size of Cerelac, or let's say milk powder, right? In that case, we need to pay attention to both these separately. That how many kids can and would want to consume this, and how many parents can actually pay for this, right? So just keep this distinction in mind. It is one of the more important things. The second thing here is, how do you estimate it? So let's just keep this simple. Let's not delve into complications here. Let's keep it simple. The total market size for any B2C product. B2C means business to consumer. B2B means business to business. B2G means business to government, right? B2C is the product that a business sells to people, and B2B is a product that a business sells to another business. So it is an intermediary, right? And B2G is what you sell to the government, right? So every B2C product will say the entire world is my audience. Let's say you create a new phone, you will say that everybody in the world will anyway need a phone. So a phone is my market is 7 billion people in the world, right? So that is a good start point. That is not the end point, of course, right? From that, you need to segment it. You need to say that, my phone costs, let's say 30,000 rupees. So the segment that I could target is everybody who has a disposable income of more than 30,000 rupees, right? Then you also have to seek, what percentage of their annual income is this person going to spend on your phone? Let's say if a rickshaw puller earns about 1 lakh rupees in a year, I do not think this person is going to buy your phone for 30,000, right? So your segment then becomes maybe somebody who earns about 4 lakh a year. This person can become my target segment, right? Or similarly, you can also say that, my phone will have, let's say, the best graphics, right? So anybody who's interested in playing video games, right, on their phone would be my target segment, right? The paying ability that we decided, for example, if you're talking about people who are into graphics, then we also need to see who are the people who can pay for those graphics, which means that from whatever 3 billion gamers in the world, your target segment now will become about 1 billion, because about 60% of those people might not be able to pay this sort of a premium product, right? And then of course reach. If you start something in Noida, or let's say Guntur or Odisha, are you going to reach Waterloo? Are you going to reach Ghana? Are you going to reach Kenya? No. So you will be restricted by that geography also. So your essential size that you can actually address becomes much, much smaller, right? So these are things that all can vary. For example, if you are giving people a loan, then your paying ability lever changes. If you are expanding your market geographically, your reach changes. If you are willing to launch multiple products, your segments change, right? So you need to see how all of these components fit. I'm assuming a number of you would be engineers. So there is this concept called Drake's equation. If you want, we could cover that maybe in the next session, but that is an interesting approach to market sizing, of course. The main question again comes in, can you address the entire group, right? We'll take a small example. Before we go to the example, these are things that you should carry in your head. How do you keep your estimates real? For any startup, when they say, what is our total market size? What is our target market? What is the segment? These are some of the questions that they have in their head. Let's say you launch a new taxi startup, cab startup, taxi hailing, online taxi hailing like Ola or Uber, right? So you see how many people can pay, how many people are interested, how many people need your product, how many people are not loyal to a competitor. Let's say, somebody has a great deal with Ola, somebody has a corporate deal with Uber. Do they actually want to switch to, the new company that you are launching? How many people would want to afford this entire thing? As I said, the rickshaw puller can pay for it, but the rickshaw puller cannot afford it. How many people can legally access it? It's totally possible that a state in India has banned taxi sharing by a new person unless you meet a certain threshold, right? So that also reduces your market size. How many people can access it geographically? If you are serving, let's say, only urban areas, then all the rural areas are gone. So with these sort of questions in mind, why don't you think, what is the size of mutual fund market in India, right? Just take a moment, think of mutual funds. We get that ad ki a person with a kid ki haan ye bada hoga, destination wedding, I'll start investing in mutual funds, right? How many people do you think buy mutual funds? The number of people who buy mutual funds is practically the market size of mutual funds that is currently there, right? This, of course, is a market penetration angle. So just think, take a moment. You can say ki, okay, what is the population in India? Okay, how many people want to invest money? By the way, you can start investing in mutual fund with as little as 500 rupees, right? So you need to think of how many people in India have 500 rupees to invest, right? And mutual funds are fairly liquid. So you get the money back in 2 days, right? Worst case scenario, 2 days, right? So which means it is very similar to a bank account. It is only 500 rupees, right? Now, India has a population of, let's say, 1.3 crores, right? 130 crores, right? 1.3 billion. Now tell me how many people out of these 130 crores, 1.3 billion, would be investing in mutual funds. Take a moment. Whenever you're ready, we'll move forward. You could share your answers also on the screen. Okay, so let's look at it now, right? I told you the questions that we saw last time. So this is one way in which this is a stat that I've taken from Outlook India, and let's see how they've done it. This is something that I think you should all carry at the back of your mind. No one can address the entire market. What is the biggest company you know of? HUL, PNG, Ariel, Surf Excel, Tide, biggest companies in the world, right? Apple, Nokia, Flipkart, Facebook, WhatsApp, biggest companies. These companies do not have 100% market penetration. Nobody does it, right? Now let's see how real your estimate of mutual fund industry size in India is based on penetration. So the Indian population is 130 crores. There are 123 crore Aadhaar card holders. Adults are 80 crores. 75 crore bank accounts in India. 40 crore PAN card holders in India. People who have insurance are about 35 crores. Registered taxpayers are 8.5 crores. 130 crore people, 8.5 crore people pay tax. Mutual fund investors are fewer than those. Only 2 crore people invest in a mutual fund. Now there's an interesting point here that you might want to notice. Look at the fourth layer from the bottom, PAN card holders. Why is this important? Because in order to invest in a mutual fund, you need to get through your KYC, right? Now this is one of the legal filters. The regulations prevent this thing, right? So the filter is coming down. You need to be eligible to take this product. So if you start a mutual fund tomorrow, the number of people that you can target, that you can assume you want to target, is this. And it is hurdled by the PAN card, right? Important thing. You cannot go and deposit cash for a mutual fund. You cannot do that, right? So you need a bank account also, right? You need to be paying tax. If you're a PAN card holder, in a lot of cases you pay tax. In a lot of cases you have a PAN card more as an identity proof, because a PAN card can be made even for a baby, right? Anybody can get a PAN card, right? You need to be an adult PAN card holder to actually be investing, right? So this is how the market comes down. 130 crores, 2 crore people. What is 2 crore? I'm guessing 2 crore is about 1.3%, less than 2% easily. 2% would be 2.6 crores. Less than 2% is the market size, right? So this is how your entire population comes down when you are doing a market sizing for your product, right? And this is also how your estimates will be real. Otherwise, if you start a startup today and you say, my market size is 130 crores, your startup valuation will start moving into maybe 10 digits and 11 digits, right? In USD. So that'll be very off, and nobody will be taking you seriously. So make sure you do a similar exercise. I am going to share the questions again with you. Think of these questions. Whenever you're doing that study, think of these questions and make sure you create a filter like this, right? Okay, let's move forward. Now this is the more interesting bit of segmenting, targeting, positioning. Segmenting is very simple.
Dr. Preet Singh.
Yeah.
Dr. Preet Singh, sorry for interruption. Just I want to put my word here.
Yeah.
And actually, generally, this is, we never try at the beginning level. And I saw many innovator, and also at the idea level or the startup level, they just give a one big picture, big figure of 100 crore kind of things, but they never downsize that from a bigger population to the smaller one by putting all these legal layers and layers. Nobody is trying. Actually, that's why sometimes the value we propose, sometimes it is misleading, or also others they will hard to believe on the data when we present to somebody. And I think you have given a very, very good and good case to correlate their product with this example, and then putting lots of work and doing some background research to how to define the actual market size. Please go ahead. Thank you. Actually, you are wonderfully putting all these examples. Please go ahead.
My pleasure, Deepan. I think it is very important that that we keep things real. So by the way, everybody knew that the biggest, the highest valued private company in the world was Uber before the IPO came out, right? Uber was valued at $60 billion. $60 billion is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, right? What you need to understand is that Uber started with just a small segment of Silicon Valley and New York, right? Itna chota market size, itna chota, itna sa, right? They did not say that the entire world is our market size. So let's say the average lifetime value of a customer is $5, right? And you get the entire population as your customer, right? So that is $35 billion in pure play revenue, right? So that is very off. That would put everything off. You cannot be taking the entire world as that. You need to filter it down. It is very important. And that is what shows that you have actually studied your product. The best mentors, the best teachers, the best professors, the best startups, investors, definitely, they will look at you only when they realize you have understood this. It is fine if you earn 1,000 rupees in your first 2 years. It is just okay. As long as you're able to sell, as long as what you project is around that amount. You need to keep it real. MTV ad, keep it real, keep it raw. Always keep it real. If you start by being somebody who inflates figures, then everybody is going to label you as a gas maker. This is just fluff. This person is not serious. They're not doing anything. Nobody takes you seriously, right? So in case we get a number of suggestions on the topics, I think we can take more of these in the next session, right? If you want me to cover those, right? So segmenting. So segmenting or segmentation, what it means is, imagine there is this population, right? There is an entire population. How do you cut it? How do you cut it? Think of it as a cake, and how do you slice the cake, right? So how do we usually slice the cake? When a kid celebrates their birthday, they cut off one side of the cake. It is not like a perfect from the center. It is just from the side, right? Now, in hotels, when they have to distribute cakes, sometimes they use a more rectangular shape, right? To give it to a kid, maybe you need a circular shape. Similarly, when you have to decide out of this 130 crore, who all are the different people, right? It is like using a lens. You can say, okay, India has a population of 130 crores. 60 crores would definitely be women. The rest would be men. That is segregating on gender, right? You could say that, okay, there are 42 crore PAN card holders. The rest are non-PAN card holders, right? You could say 2 crore people invest in mutual funds. The rest do not invest, right? So this is basically choosing a knife. How to divide the population. You can divide the population in various ways. Just for example, in your classes, the professor, the teacher could divide you based on your name. Key people from A to M sit here. People from N to Z sit there. They could divide based on the marks you got in a particular subject. All those people who got X marks in engineering drawing sit here. All those who did not sit there. That is how you are segmenting the class, right? Now tomorrow, if I am supposed to be selling these really accurate architectural pencils, how will I divide the entire population in the first go? I will say people who have to draw and people who don't have to draw. Then I will further divide people who have to draw into people who value precision, people who don't value precision. So a lot of your younger siblings and cousins would have to draw things, right? In school, draw cartoon, draw ball. They don't need high precision. But your draftsmen, foremen, your architects, your civil engineers might need a lot of precision in that pencil, right? So this is how you keep cutting the population. So there are some famous methods. Of course, there are some less famous methods. I'll just give you a broad overview of those. So one is this geographic, psychographic, behavioral, and I'm sorry for the typo there, demographic change, demographic segmentation, right? Basically what these four do it, demographic basically means your age, your height, your weight, your preferences. Geographic is where you are located. Again, within geographic, you can say that, you know, I want to do continent wise, I want to do country wise, I want to do English speaking countries, I want to do countries with a high rural population, I want to do countries where the public transport system is very developed, right? Let's say for something like an Uber, that would have been one of the things that they thought of. You know, I want a decentralized population where the public transport is probably not last mile or is overloaded. If you look at it, that is their best market, right? Psychographic, behavioral, you know, attitude. I want to look at people who want to try new things, who want to be at the cutting edge. For example, if a new iPhone comes up, then I am looking for people to target who will stand in line for one whole day to get that phone. Those are the people who want to be on the cutting edge, right? If I am looking for something very reliable, then, you know, I am probably looking, I would probably, for example, Eyeball was a company brand, Intex brand, that said that, you know, I am coming out with this phone that only has these 9 buttons, a 0 key, a call key, and a disconnect key. This will be for old age people because they wanted something very reliable. So their segmentation was like that, right? Similarly, you can also segment based on the value chain. So for example, if you are selling, let's say, a service for telling people the best routes, right? For example, if I have to go from here to, let's say, Jharsuguda, right? Direct flight to nahi hai, aur mere ghar se to flight chalti nahi hai. So I will probably need a cab or a metro from here to the airport, from airport to Bhubaneswar, from Bhubaneswar maybe a train, right? So multiple modes of transport are involved. Now, will this be to the customer directly? Will I make an app that I will spread to the world? Or will I give this API to Yatra and make my trip, right? Or will I give this to railways? You know, tomorrow when somebody is booking a ticket with IRCTC, they can see ki, okay, this flight also fits, right? So you need to know where in the value chain you are going to be. And this is your segmentation, right? Then of course, there is a very famous segmentation process called SEC-ABC. So SEC-ABC stands for socio-economic classification. It is very simple. It is based on, you know, whether you have a kacha ghar, pakka ghar, what sort of income you have, and your level of education, right? Just these 3 basic things. What makes this a very, very preferred method is that this data is available in census, which means down till the pin code level, you know what SEC classification is there, right? Now, people who have pakka houses have a certain specific buying habit, right? And people who are in kacha houses who might not also be educated have a different set of buying habits. If you can segment your market based on this, then you can get very, very accurate estimates of your market size, right? This of course was done by somebody from IMA years ago. And you know, these are just 3 examples. There are hundreds of methods of segmentation, hundreds of methods, right? And you need to decide for your startup, what is the best way to segregate the population? What is the best way to segment the population, right? For example, there is a startup called PSafe, right? PSafe has a very simple proposition that because women have more contact when they have to travel, so they have divided the population into males, females, as simple as that, right? From females, then of course paying ability and that filter starts coming in, but that is very simple. For your startup, maybe you want people who have an Apple Watch, right? Maybe you want people who are already, let's say, working on some startups, right? So these things become important. It is totally up to you which method there is. Now, targeting, important question. how do you target? Once you have the entire segment, you target. Targeting is what slice of the cake is important, right? Segmentation, you have three different ways in which you slice the cake. Targeting is for you to understand that which of these three cake slices is relevant to me, right? So for example, I'll take the example of PSAFE again. So PSAFE could have targeted this thing by gender. They could have also targeted by people who were hygiene conscious or not hygiene conscious, right? For example, a lot of times males would also have more contact when we would travel, right? Differently abled people have a lot of contact. Elderly people have a lot of contact, right? In a lot of cases, babies have a lot of contact, right? I don't know if you've noticed, whenever you go to an airport, there is a special place for babies to change diapers, where parents can change babies' diapers, right? So these would have been the three different segmentations that the PSAFE team would have done. And then they would have decided, yeah, we think this is not our target. This seems to be good, but let us focus on this, right? So targeting is for you to astutely determine which of these is better. So let's say you come up with a premium PSAFE product, then this might not be the best targeting for you. Maybe the best targeting for you in that case would be the baby diaper change market, right? Because people are a lot more willing to spend money on baby hygiene than on their own hygiene, right? So you need to see which sort of targeting, which sort of target fits you and your product, right? As I also determined B2B, B2C, B2G, I would also have one very strong recommendation. Please do not create products that you think are B2G. Please do not create a product that, you know, the government should buy this, the government should sell this to everybody, government should pay me money, government should enforce everything. That is not how the government works. Government procurement is with taxpayers' money. We just saw 8.5 crore taxpayers. The money that these 8.5 crore taxpayers pay is used to procure things. Government processes are strong. Innovative procurement is not government's strong foot. Corporates can do that better, right? And corporates will also be faster in turnaround. Government has to follow a process. Government is audited. Everything the government does in the public domain. So whenever you create a product, whenever you create a product, please make sure, because government is the easy way out. Everybody thinks, you know, I have this sanitary pad dispensing machine. The government should buy it from me and the government should give it to everybody. That is not the best way. You know, maybe your target segment is colleges. That is where you have a lot of women who are in that phase where they cannot go out to markets and where they are like a captive audience, right? Maybe it is offices, corporates, or maybe you can just start giving it to people to keep it at their homes. The government is a very easy target, but it is not the easiest target to convert, right? So please keep this in mind. This is a very important aspect of targeting. Yes. Okay, now something that I really like.
Preet, if you will allow me for
please,
1 minute.
Yes.
So let me, what I understood in the last 20-30 minutes is that you said that market is the most important factor that we should consider at the beginning of the at the idea level. Also, what I understood that market and understanding market and doing the market research and identifying the right target, or also the segmenting the target, has the two benefits. First benefit is that you should know that where you are heading of your product and how you are going to take to the customer. Also in that process also you are going to discover so many other innovations which you can do further innovations, right? So it has both benefits. So it will ensure that your product will reach to the right market, right customer, and also you will, through that process you will identify so many other problems, and for that which will again you will do lots of innovations. So it's kind of a two-side benefit, also iterative process that this marketing research is going to give the benefits. So not only at the startup level, also they can apply at the idea level, also at the innovation level also.
Yes, very important, Deepan, very right. When you study your customer, that is when you realize what you should be doing. That is what will tell everybody you meet, from good employees to good coders to your incubators to your mentors to your professors, that this person has delved deep, this person has done their hard work. Totally agree. Very important point.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now something that I really like. I know a lot of you would have had a Mac, or you have a friend who has a Mac, or your college laboratory has a Mac, right? When you touch a Mac, right? I know you all have Windows laptops. I also have a Windows laptop, right? When you touch an Apple Mac, not the iPhones, the Mac, right? What do you feel? Take a moment and answer that. We all have a very similar set of feelings, by the way, but okay, right? Similarly, just answer me. What do you feel when you hear about PVR director's cut? It's a way that you watch a movie, PVR director's cut, when you hear about this. Similarly, if you or your cousins have been to Japan, when you board a train in Japan, or when you hear about a train in Japan or a Japanese metro or bus, what is it that it invokes in you, right? I don't know how many of you have an old Nokia phone. Your elder siblings or your parents would have an old Nokia phone, the 1108, right? What is the feeling that it evokes, right? Take a moment, and I will talk about these in a moment, right? Okay. Apple design, you can talk to anybody across the world. They might not like the interface कि अरे इसमें तो सब कुछ उल्टा है, क्रॉस यहाँ पे है, लाल बटन वहाँ है, ये गलत हो रहा है. But everybody would tell you, you touch an Apple, you feel design, you feel finish, you feel, oh, this is wonderful. Oh, this is amazing, right? Apple has always positioned itself in design and creativity. Just by the way, everybody in the film industry, every graphics, video, audio, editing, singing, every acting, every professional uses a Mac. Everybody who has to work with multimedia uses a Mac, right? They have put themselves in the center of design and creativity. Every good design startup will be using a Mac, right? That is their positioning. In your head, when you think of Mac, you are thinking design. Just by the way, I am of course a big fan of Apple. Apple is the worst product you can have as a student. The worst product, because your laptop space is limited to 80 GB. A lot of phones have more storage than your Apple Macs, right? And as a student, you don't know what you are supposed to be doing. So you keep getting more and more data from people. You download files, you download lectures and everything, right? But Apple is clear. I will sacrifice everything else. And Apple's products are pretty expensive, by the way. Apple is very clear, design. I will be the best in design. Nobody will beat me there, right? Similarly, PVR director's cut, this has feeling of exclusivity, of comfort. They have a high price point, of course. They are very clear. We will have only 10, 15, 20 seats in a 200-seater hall. And of course, like 5 halls, but only 20 seats. And it will be very exclusive. It will be very comfortable, right? Japanese trains, I don't know how many of you said it, but this is what it evokes globally. Punctuality. The total time duration that all Japanese trains were late by in one whole year, right, was less than 7 minutes. So there are, let's say, 10 buses. There are, of course, many more. I'm just giving you an example. 10 buses that do 2 routes across 10 stops, right? So there are 20 routes, right, throughout the year, right? So that's like 7,300 routes. The total amount of time that they all were collectively late for was less than 7 minutes. Japan and Switzerland pride themselves on punctuality, right? They might not have the best air conditioning. They might not have fingerprinting access control. They might not have CCTV, but it is punctuality, and they are known the world over for that. So your positioning should be such that people world over say, this is this. It is this product. I will take this product, right? You can ask some of your elder siblings, but an old Nokia phone was the most reliable thing in the world. Especially now with all these new phones, you could throw a Nokia phone on the wall. You could misplace the charger for a month and you would still have that phone working just fine, right? Your product, whatever your product is, needs to have a position. And please don't tell me your position is the service that you deliver. No, it is not that, right? So the service that you deliver, for example, an Apple, they do not deliver a design service. They are delivering a computing service, but their positioning is design, right? PVR Director's Cut is delivering a movie. They are not delivering exclusivity or comfort. Their positioning is this. So positioning is different from the service that you deliver, right? So it is of course what as I said, the feeling that the brand tries to evoke. This is an open source diagram on how to understand. Take a moment, grasp this. If there are questions, let me know. So similar to how we said, there will be filter questions. This is how those filter questions are, where TAM is total market and SAM is serviceable market, right? This includes, like, this accounts for the constraints of legal and your sales and geography, right? And out of that you segment and you decide this is my target market, right? Who are the people I will be targeting to push to buy my product or service, right? So let's take an example now. This is more of like a case study method. It's a small overview. We'll end after this. So just pay attention here and keep thinking alongside, okay? So let us help a startup that is putting vehicle inspections on blockchain, right? So what this startup does is, for a vehicle insurance, there is an inspection that happens. They click pictures, they take your engine number, chassis number, and everything before an insurance happens, so that later if there is a claim, then they can verify with this image ki, oh, okay, the headlight was broken earlier also, right? Insurance inspection, very simple. The startup's value addition is they're putting it on blockchain, right? It is done for 2-wheelers and 4-wheelers. It is used at the time of the claim, right? Now, with me here right now, can you do a market research, market study, market sizing for this startup? Take a moment, pause the video if you want, and do this study, and we'll take care of some results and what my thoughts are on this. It is possible that our thoughts don't agree. You could be right, I could be wrong, I could be right, you could have some scope to learn, right? But let us all do this. You understood the thing? Whenever you need to get an insurance, if there is a lapse in insurance, whenever you need to get a new insurance, they come, they inspect your vehicle, you tell the insurance company, they send somebody comes in, does this, sends it back, you get your insurance, right? Yeah, take a moment and do the market study for this. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so what would be the segment? What would be the segment? Okay, we can divide as per value chain. That is what I think. You can of course have a different one. So as per value chain, insurance ka value chain kya rehta? Insurance ka value chain is insurance company, inspection agency, and the insured. Insured is jiski gaadi hai, the person who owns the vehicle, right? Now, as per this, what do you think would the target be? Who is your target market if you are putting these inspection reports on the blockchain? Right, the party who cares about it. Out of these three, who cares about the inspection report? The insurance company. Why? Because they have to pay. The people who pay for your service are the people who will have to pay if they do not take your service. As simple as that. They could be paying if they don't take your service. They could be paying a cost, or they could be paying somebody else. So in this case, the insurance company cares that, I should have the accurate inspection report. So they should be a good target for you. Positioning, right? Now think carefully, take a moment if you have to, but what would be the positioning for this startup? What would be a good positioning for this startup? You are now targeting insurance companies and you are putting things on blockchain, right? Think of this. What is the most valuable thing right now? Reliability. Some of you have said accuracy, which is just fine. You know, the insurance company cares that this has to be an accurate report. Accuracy or reliability or dependability, or you know, to be able to count on it. Yes, they're all correct in my view, right? What is the market size? What is the market size for this startup? So one thing you should know is legally it is mandatory for all vehicles to have an insurance, right? You know, lapse wala nahi hona chahiye, right? So the market size will be people who have a break-in insurance, right? Which means you start with all two-wheelers and four-wheelers, right? And from that you filter to people who have a break-in insurance, like जिन्होंने premium नहीं pay किया and their insurance lapsed, right? Let's say this number is 6, 7, 8%, right? Let's say there are 100 cars, so 8 cars is your market size here, right? An important thing when you think of this market size, a very important thing. The new law has come out that makes it mandatory to have motor vehicle insurance, right? This means that you will get a challan or an imprisonment if you do not have insurance, which means the break that used to come, the break that came when you moved from having an insurance to renewing the insurance, this break will be a challan, right? What does this mean? Think about it. This means that fewer and fewer people will have a break in insurance. This is a narrowing market size. Are you getting it? Understand this again. This is a narrowing market size. Whenever you do such a thing, this company is not going to sustain in the long run. You will not be able to create value for 10 years. Your market size will be continuously shrinking, right? You have to keep this in mind when you think of an idea. This is a perfect plan. This is a great startup, wonderful doing blockchain, but it is a shrinking market size, especially if the government does not want this, right? These are things you need to keep in mind. It comes later, it comes with practice. Honestly, it comes with mistakes, right? But you need to keep these things in mind. Right, just before we close, some ideas on where you get all this data. You know, United Nations and related websites, UNCTAD, WHO, amazing repository of data. Human Development Index, great data, great data. Every country in the world, every state in the world, they will have data of how educated people are, how literate people are, how much people are happy, how much people earn, what people eat, what people drink, where people go, when people sleep, what time people get up. For India, of course, census is a great place. RTI data. RTI, a lot of data is published in the newspapers. You can search it. You know, you have Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha questions. By the way, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha questions, you can hold them accountable in court. If the government has given this data point, they are answerable. They will stand by that data point. You know, you have some great journals and magazines. You know, Fortune, Forbes, and Economist. Economist has a lot of open data repository. The Economist, the magazine based in UK. Use those. Research papers are great. In fact, research papers also give like a geeky feel. So you have a startup where you're looking for investment. Having a research bagged number is great. MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Project Implementation, great resource for a lot of data. RBI releases a lot of reports. Company annual reports have a lot of data. Industry reports, like, you know, SIAM has auto industry reports. AMFI, a mutual fund organizations, Association of Mutual Fund Industry, has a lot of those reports that come out. All those reports can be used, and feel free to use those reports, quote them, say that, you know, I've taken this number from here. Whenever you mention a data point, please mention data source. Please mention data source. It lends credibility. Otherwise, I can say today population of the world is 300 crores. Unless I say that, you know, this research paper from NASA or wherever has come, nobody is going to accept my word for it, right? That was it from my side. Just one more thing. Till next time, I want you all to do, for any idea you have, for any idea, do a market size, market target study. You can do it, you know, on a normal paper pencil. Just do it in your head, put it down. Just understand the assumptions you make. It will be great if you do this in pairs, and if somebody else can also do it for the same product. It just helps you build perspective how people are thinking, how you should also think. The second is figure out the positioning of your five favorite products, and then pause a bit, right? So think of any five products. It could be a glass, it could be a laptop, a phone, your favorite t-shirt, your air conditioner, your cupboard, your jeans. Just think of the positioning, right? And make sure you take some time during this exercise. Make sure you take some time so that you realize at a higher level what it is, right? It is easy to say the positioning of my jeans is it provides denim. It provides good color, right? Is that the positioning? Is that why you bought a Levi's jeans? Is there something that the brand evokes? So do that, right? I have some content available on Amazon also. We could share it for free if you want. I'm available on Twitter. Any questions you have, any suggestions you have, anything you want us to cover, you can drop a comment here. You can reach me out on Twitter. You can let Deepan know. More than happy to be with you in whatever you want. That's it, Deepan.
Thank you, Dr. Preet. Actually, if you will ask me that how that session is, I will say it is wonderful. And you have explained very nicely with example by highlighting the key features of market. And most importantly, you have explained that what is the market and what are the different type of market every individuals, especially those are aspiring to become an entrepreneur, or those are innovator, those want to take their products or innovations forward, or also those are practicing venture, or they have the startup. So because market, they can't stay away from market. Market is the first thing they should think about before they start about their innovation. And market and the product and the innovation stages should go simultaneously, and it should be validated each and every stages. Then only the sustainability, the scalability, or and other options will come into the picture. Without making by de-associating the market and your product or innovation or startup, it will never feasible. And most important thing that what you have mentioned is that even though you understand market, but you have to understand your market very systematically. That's why this market and research, one word is market, another research. The market and research both are combined. That's why we call it as marketing research. And because understanding the market in a very systematic way, in a very methodological way, by using the scientific way of defining the market, then that is actually one of the characteristic of an entrepreneur. So that to mitigate the risk, to manage the risk. And marketing research is one of the tool which will help these entrepreneurs to mitigate the risk and to manage the risk by reducing the uncertainties in the process of their journey to become an entrepreneur or to become an innovator. Also, you have very good explained, also highlighted that what are the different segmentation methods, how to segment the whole market. What is the target? What is the positioning of your product? So this, I understand this is a kind of a foundation level session. So you have restricted to this level, and in next session, I hope you are going to cover the next level. What are the tools and how these tools are going to help to collect the data and also interpret the data, and also how that will be used for the decision making. I hope these are the objectives of your next session. And
the next session will be taking we'll be taking a case in the next session. We'll be taking a case, and of course some feedback that we receive or more queries, we'll take a live case and see how that can be solved.
Yeah. So I will request all students and faculties and mentors and also the other members, those are watching this session, because this session is really going to very benefit to all of you if you will listen and watch very carefully. Also, you have to go through the e-assessment form, where we are going to ask certain questions to understand your level of understanding on marketing research. And further, I will request Dr. Preet to share your contact number or email or something, so that they will write to you also. So if you have that, you can tell them.
So at the rate Dr. Preet Deep, Twitter is where I usually take a lot of startup queries.
Okay. So you generally are dealing through Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So then stay tuned. Then stay tuned for the next session that we are going to do in the next week. And for the time being, you just keep on watching us, because we have planned sessions on every day. So tomorrow we have another session. So please be ready, and we want you all to watch us and also watch our session, and also participate in all kind of e-assessment forms, and you will get benefit out of it. That's the only objective we have. Thank you all for joining and watching us. Namaskar.